Hansen. Some of you know me from fishing the Bassmasters. I'm a professional bass fisherman. You can find me on the circuit, and you can find me on my website, hansenfishing.com. A couple things I want to talk to you about is what's very important to me and what I have come to see as being more and more important throughout my fishing career and throughout my everyday life. I fish from South Florida all the way up to Lake Erie, and when you're up on Lake Erie, the waves can get pretty big and pretty bad, along with some other places. But one thing I want to talk to you about is your back. Being out there on the water and the rough waves can really tear up your back. It can get your back out of line, out of adjustment. Puts a lot of guys out there on pain pills, pain medication. Believe it or not, you don't need all those pain pills and all that pain medication. A couple years ago, a friend of mine, he's a chiropractor, he sent me to a chiropractor that he knew, because my buddy actually lives up in Maine, so he couldn't do it for me. But since then, I've been going to Dr. Jason Mingus at Healthbridge Chiropractic in Bel Air, Maryland. Dr. Mingus has at first, the first time I went to Dr. Mingus, he just checked me out. I wasn't having any issues. My back didn't bother me. I'm young. I'm thinking, what do you need to go to the chiropractor for? People say, you need to go for your back tune-up. That's what I was being told by my buddy, and I'm like, man, I never go to the doctor. I never get sick. I never go to the doctor. I don't need that mess. But I went to see him anyway. When I went to see him, he actually felt down my back. He asked me, he said, you having any issues? Your neck bother you? No. I said, I'm healthy. I lift weights. I work out. Nothing bothers me. And he's like, you have no issues whatsoever. I'm like, no. He's like, you ever get any headache? Your arm ever goes tingly or anything like that? And I'm like, well, I get headaches once in a while just like everybody else. Well, needless to say, the reason why I would get headaches once in a while is because there was actually a nerve in my back. When my back got out of the line, that would rub on that nerve and give me a headache. Well, a headache once a month, once every other month, who cares about that? Not really that big of a deal. Well, I didn't think so until I don't get headaches anymore. I go see Dr. Mingus maybe once a month, depending on what's going on, sometimes more than that. Sometimes I'll see him a couple times a month, depending on what's going on. One of the things that just happened to me, which I never would have thought would have been a problem due to my back, and it really wasn't due to my back. They're actually called rib heads, where your ribs attach to your back. I had a couple rib heads get out of alignment, and when I tell you what, when I breathed in and took a great big deep breath in, it felt like somebody was stabbing me in my back. I couldn't even sneeze because when I breathe in, the pain would be so bad, it would counter me from even sneezing. So I went to see him, and he said, yeah, it's your rib heads. And I'm, rib heads? What's a rib head? And he said, well, it's when your ribs get a little bit out of the line. They can either rub on a muscle or a nerve ending, and it can go up through your back, and it creates a lot of pain for people. It can inflame muscles in your back, and what it was doing, because I lift a lot, and I knew my body structure very well because I've always been in tune to what's going on. Back here, this muscle back here in your neck is called your trap. Well, I could feel it was inflamed. I could feel that it was sitting up all the time. And what was happening is that muscle goes down into about the middle of your back. And it was going down there, and it was actually staying contracted and rubbing against other things. And, it was basically just getting worn out, and it was hurting. So I stopped in and seen him. He told me what was going on. A couple cracks later, and I went one time, and he adjusted me. I'll tell you what, it didn't feel great. It hurt. But a couple hours later, I could breathe a little bit better. So he said, well, come in tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. So I go back in tomorrow. And after that, it felt even a little bit more better. I could actually take a full deep breath. So by that night, it was gone. Couldn't even tell muscles, you know, relaxed down. They weren't inflamed anymore. And you know, one thing about my chiropractors, I always know when my back's out of adjustment. My chiropractor always gets me taken care of. He gets me right in and right out. No problems, no questions asked. And I'll tell you what, no matter what happens, the last thing I do before I go fishing is see my chiropractor, because I only trust one, and that's Dr. Jason Menges. And before I leave, that's where I go, because I don't want to go see some other chiropractor when I'm down in Florida or Lake Erie or wherever. So if you're in need of a chiropractor, he's your man. And I'm John Hansen.